For those of you who don't know me, my name's Steve Ouellette. I've been working with the fishing industry for about 20 years, and I've been heavily involved in the Gloucester fishing scene since about 1994, when Amendment 5 came down the pike. And for those of you who remember Amendment 5, and remember when the Magnuson Act was enacted in 1976, the promises made to you were that as the fisheries rebuilt, the fishing industry would become stronger, jobs would increase, fishing communities would benefit. It was a promise made by the government to you, to all of you fishermen. As Senator Tarse commented, you are basically the foundation of this nation. The first industry in America was the fishing industry. It colonized New England. Its economy was the basic economy of the United States. You are the proud bearers of that tradition. You have sacrificed your life to put food on the tables of America. The names on that plaque down on the boulevard represent the strongest, purest, hardest working Americans in history. And their names should not sit on that plaque in vain. The government has promised you something. The Magnuson Act on its face says we are going to rebuild fisheries. We are going to reinvigorate fishing communities. And that promise is not being kept.
Now they want our permits.
Now they want your permits. Now they want to commoditize it. Now they want to consolidate the fishery. For those of you who have been following the Fishery Management Council process, the most successful fishery in America, the scallop fishery, very profitable. Individual owners are making record profits. They are very happy. And the council, at the urging of the National Marine Fisheries Service, has recently said, we want to consolidate that. We have a fully rebuilt fishery. It's so rebuilt, we want to get rid of half of the fishermen. We want to turn it into a corporate fishing opportunity. We want to turn it into catch shares, individual quotas. We want to have fishermen working like they do in Alaska, where 65 cents of every pound of fish, every 65 cents of everything they earn goes to a corporate structure that doesn't own a boat and doesn't fish. And that is wrong. That is not the promise that the Magnuson Act made to you. And we are here, I am so happy to see fishermen finally come from different ports. And every port will tell you, we fought this 5 years ago, we fought this 10 years ago. Well, it's time for all of you to stand up for the rights of all fishermen.
Yeah!
We hear every day from the Fisheries Service that we need to rebuild every stock within 10 years. We need to rebuild even the weakest stock within 10 years. Even if that small stock, which is an insignificant portion of a large fishery, shuts everything down. America needs to know that in the New England groundfish fishery, 75% of the quota went uncaught last year. They need to know that the Fisheries Service is withholding 80% of the monkfish, available monkfish. They need to know that the swordfish quota, which we share with foreign nations, we are only accessing 50% of our quota. That's because the Fisheries Service can't find ways to let us fish it. It is ridiculous. The American people need to know that in the Northeast region, $550 million worth of fish was not caught last year or the year before or the year before. At a time when we are struggling to keep people employed, we are not only leaving fish in the ocean, we're going to be ceding it to our foreign neighbors. We share many of our groundfish stocks with the Canadians. They can access them, but we can't. And as we discovered through the Hague Line decision, with the stroke of a treaty pen, we can lose a large portion of our fishery. ICAT is ready to take away our swordfish. They may even take away our bluefin tuna.
Yep.
And that is because we have some problem between our congressional delegations and the Fisheries Service, because the congressional delegations say, well, it's up to the Fisheries Service, and the Fisheries Service says, Congress mandates this. Well, it is time for Congress to get off its whatever and get to work on the problem. And it is imperative that everyone here stand up for the fishing industry, because the future of the fishing industry is the future of fishing communities. It is the future of hard-working Americans who are fundamental to this nation. We need to get people back to work. Right now, the issues that we're facing require congressional intervention. There is no question of it. For those of you, again, following the Fisheries Service and its new move to catch shares and attempting to consolidate, you should be aware of a recent report done by the Fisheries Service itself. And I want to read you a line, because I think it's important that you understand what the Fisheries Service's grand scheme will result in, according to the Fisheries Service's own analysis. The primary social impacts that have been documented in empirical cases involving consolidation, like catch shares, range from employment loss, decreased income, decreased quality of life, changing relations of production, structural disadvantages to small vessels and firms, dependency and debt patronage, concentration of capital and market power, inequitable gains, regulatory stickiness, reduced stewardship, decreased community. Pardon me.
Steve, they're working up there. Them guys
Yeah,
they're
they get
working.
lots.
We're not working. They're working.
Decreased community stability, loss of cultural values, and so on. This is what the current Fisheries Service has planned for you. And I don't mean to criticize many of the hard-working people inside this building, people who help you on a daily basis, people who deal with your permits, the people who deal with the common problems. We have a bigger problem here. We have a congressional problem. Congress needs to step up to the plate. Our legislators need to come forward. They need to hold some type of community meeting where they actually listen to fishermen and leaders, not the paid representatives of the Pew Foundation or the Pew Charitable Trust, the Environmental Defense Fund. We need to restore fisheries to Americans, to fishermen, to consumers, and the president. Good luck getting him down here, but we'll see. We can't even get the mayor.
He's golfing.
In any event, it is a pleasure to see you here and to work with you. I find the commercial fishing industry to be the proudest, strongest working group of Americans I have ever had the pleasure of dealing with.
And we're starving.
Well, let's get you fed.